Israel has to do what they have to do, but we have to get to peace because the world is turning and it's not a good thing for Israel. What's happening is not a good thing.
In a sit-down interview with Israel Hayom, a conservative paper in Israel, Donald Trump offered his thoughts on the impact of the war in Gaza and what it's having on the global perception of Israel. We have more. Take a look.
That being said, you have to finish up your war. You have to finish it up. You got to get it done. And I'm sure you'll do that. And we got to get to peace. You can't have this going on. And I will say Israel has to be very careful because you're losing a lot of the world. You're losing a lot of support. But you have to finish up. You have to get the job done. And you have to get on to peace. You have to get on to a normal life for Israel and for everybody else.
While Trump didn't explicitly call for a ceasefire or the release of hostages, he spent a good portion of the interview talking about how prolonging the war and Israel's tactics is an optics nightmare. So take a look at this.
And I think Israel made a very big mistake, and I see it, and I saw it every night, and I wanted to call them and say, don't do it. It would say the Israeli Defense Ministry or a tag would be on these photos and shots, I mean, moving shots of bombs being dropped into buildings in Gaza. And I said, ooh, that's a terrible portrait. It's a very bad picture for the world. The world is seeing this.
Yeah, but Hamas terrorists are in those buildings, so how can we fight them?
You go and do what you have to do, but you don't do that.
But he was also asked about Chuck Schumer's comments that Israeli voters should replace Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He said, some 15 years ago, Israel had the strongest lobby. If you were a politician, you couldn't say anything bad about Israel. That would be the end of your political career. Today, it's almost the opposite. You have AOC plus 3, these lunatics, frankly, but you have AOC plus 3 plus plenty of others. And all they do is talk badly about Israel, and they hate Israel, and they hate the Jewish people. Trump also used the interview as an opportunity to blame the October 7th attacks on President Biden. Watch.
I would say I would act very much the same way as you did. You'd have to be crazy not to. Only a fool would not do that. That was a horrible attack. But it was an attack that I blame on Biden because they have no respect for him. He can't put two sentences together. He can't talk. He's a very dumb person. He's a dumb person.
Cenk, I want to bring you in here. He's talking about how the footage of bombs being dropped on Gaza with the IDF logo on them are bad for Israel. He's talking about how prolonging the war is bad for people's perceptions of Israel. I guess, do you think that people in Israel will be receptive to that? Do you think Netanyahu will be receptive to that? And why do you think he's making that argument?
A lot of mainstream media don't give you honest news. We do. You know why? Because of you. Paid membership on YouTube makes all the difference. Hit the join button below and you become the hero that sustains us.
Look, there's a lot there, and I wanted everybody to see the range of it because this could be disastrous for Palestinians and it could be pretty good for Palestinians. It really is very variable. You know exactly what you're gonna get from Joe Biden. You don't quite know what you're gonna get from Donald Trump, and this was a pretty good example of it. So with Biden, you could lock it in right now. He will huff and puff about Netanyahu and Israel, and they're going too far. And the furthest he'll go is an abstention in the UN. That's it. He's never gonna cut their funding. He's gonna rush money over to them no matter what they do. It doesn't matter if their government is left wing, right wing, whatever it might be. So Biden is what he is, okay? And it's not great. It's a lot of talk, theoretical disagreements, but a blank check. Now, Trump's also correct about, is wildly correct and wildly incorrect at the same time about the other politicians. So he is correct that defying any dictate of the Israeli government before in American politics was unthinkable. I've covered politics for over 25 years. And Chuck Schumer making that speech that he did a couple of days ago, as I told you at the time, was unprecedented. I've never seen a leader in a party, let alone almost anyone in the Democratic or Republican parties, say no, Israel has to change course. And so still Chuck Schumer and everyone else is like, don't get me wrong, let's send him the bag anyway. send him every dollar anyway, but we're not happy with their direction. That is unprecedented in American politics. The part where he's obviously hilariously wrong is, oh, they hate Israel, they hate Jewish people. Chuck Schumer hates Jewish people? Really? Okay, I mean, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders are the two most senior Jewish American politicians ever, literally, in American history. So no, they don't hate Israel. I think Bernie actually, when he was younger, lived in Israel for a little while. No, they love Israel, they want to support Israel. And that's why they're speaking out against this particular government of Israel, because they think it's heading Israel and America in the wrong direction. The idea that AOC or Schumer or Sanders hates Jewish people or Israel is absurd, totally and utterly absurd. And the AOC and the squad has the same motivations as Bernie Sanders does, which is protect innocent lives, both on the Israeli side and on the Palestinian side. But Jordan, the real question here is, what does Trump mean by finish it up? Just finish it up, and then let's get to peace. Let's get to peace sounds pretty good. Let's finish it up does not sound good. He says, oh, bombing them from the air looks terrible. Don't do that. But hurry up and kill whoever you need to kill to wipe out Hamas, which would probably mean killing tens of thousands of more civilians through the bombing and fighting alone, let alone the 1.1 million people that are in imminent famine situation. Some have already begun to starve to death. So with Trump, what we might get is a nightmare much worse than Biden, but we might also get a guy who says to Israel, yeah, clean up, go home. You're not getting it. I want this thing over because it's a pain in my ass. And so you're either going to stop it or I'm not going to send you any more money. Now that is very unlikely, but with Trump being so variable, it's at least on the board, which I don't think it's on the board for Biden.
Some people use this interview or took his comments to mean that he was calling for a ceasefire. I did not see it that way. I don't see him veering from the official Israeli government position on this or even AIPAC's position on this, both of which are more war and eradicate Hamas, these abstract things that only result in more human suffering for really everybody involved. So to better understand where he's coming from, you need to understand Trump's history in the White House and his relationship with Israel during that time. So we have context for people who might not remember. While he was in the White House, he gave Israel at that time the largest aid package up until that point. Biden is proposing one that's astronomically larger. And he relocated the US embassy and the capital and recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, despite global condemnation from the international community because that's contested territory. He also recognized the Golan Heights, which under international law is in Syria. He recognized that as Israeli territory. And most notably, he has routinely and publicly opposed a two-state solution. James Risen in The Intercept writes, at the 2016 Republican convention, Trump pushed through a provision in the party platform ending GOP support for a two-state solution and a Palestinian state. Now, Trump and Republicans agree with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when he says that Israel can no longer agree to a two-state solution. In any future arrangement, Israel needs security control over all territory west of the Jordan. So from the river to the sea is what they're saying. That's all Israel. And during this interview, they asked Trump about his position on Israel annexing, completely taking over the West Bank and claiming it as Israeli territory. I mean, Cenk, to me, this doesn't sound like a peacenik. I think a lot of people have tried to make Trump out into a more peaceful alternative to Biden, but I just, with everything that he has done, everything that he has said, I can't see it that way.
Yeah, no, there's no chance that he's that way. Look, guys, this is also the guy who tried to ban Muslims from the country. He said he wanted to do that in 2016, bragged about it. This is also the guy, that provoked further war by killing General Soleimani, who's the head general for the Iranians, moving our embassy. He's not remotely a peacenik. He's the one that increased drone strikes from Obama, and Obama already was doing a record number of drone strikes. And he's the one that said, if anyone does terrorism, we should kill their family members. So that's kind of disgusting pig that Donald Trump is. So don't get your hopes up too high. But our job is to be fair and give you all the perspectives and all the context. So I'm gonna give you two more things that are on Trump's side and then tell you the one giant thing against Trump in this case, which is number one, he doesn't like Netanyahu. And he doesn't like Netanyahu for totally illegitimate reasons. The rest of the planet doesn't like him because he's not helping Israel. He's killing endless Palestinians. I think he's one of the largest terrorists we've had in our lifetime in terms of number of civilians killed. So if you think that that's not the right standard, okay, be hypocritical, I don't mind, but you are definitely being hypocritical. No, but Trump hates him because he didn't support Trump's lie about the 2020 election. And he took credit for a bomb that Trump wanted to take credit for. So he's a child, but he's a fickle child. So you never know what he's going to do. You just cannot predict it because Trump himself doesn't know until 5 minutes before he does it. So in a situation that is moribund and awful, any change could be disastrous change, but it could be potentially positive change. I'm just giving you all the context. There's one other thing. Israel, forget the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't care about any of this nonsense because they have no hope in America, and they're not wrong, right? So, but Israel does care. Netanyahu does care who's president and about their reactions. And Netanyahu thinks Biden is a chump, a loser that he could just push around with no consequences at all. And he's generally right about that. But Trump, he's a little worried about. In fact, Axios reported Netanyahu has fumed at Biden and other top Democrats advocating for a ceasefire, but is unlikely to pick a public fight with Trump. And the reason for that is, whether we like it or not, and again, for all the wrong reasons, that's if you offend him personally, you say something about his hair, whatever it might be. But if you piss off Trump, there's gonna be consequences. If you piss off Biden, there's gonna be no consequences at all. None, zero. And so that's not a great status quo for Palestinians. But finally, the terrible thing on the side of Donald Trump, if you've got your hopes up on him being a peacenik, especially for Palestinians. Come on, guys, come on. Don't be ridiculous. Donald Trump is not a peacenik under any circumstance. He just thinks in his dumb mind, well, I'll kill him faster and that way we'll get the peace because I already killed them all already. That's the kind of moron he is, generally speaking, okay? But here, the overwhelming evidence is he took $100 million from Sheldon Adelson in 2016. He did it again in 2020 through his super PACs. Sheldon Adelson is a massively right-wing Israeli supporter. He's an American citizen, or he was. He passed away recently. And Sheldon Adelson basically ordered Donald Trump to do everything Netanyahu demanded of him. So he's not strong either. That's why he moved the embassy. That's why he said that absurdly that the Golan Heights is part of Israel. Whatever Adelson ordered him to do, Donald Trump was a servant and he did it. And now Adelson is dead, but his wife has all the money. His widow does, Miriam Adelson. And so Donald Trump is in the middle of kissing her ass in every direction. So he's like, I'll do anything for right-wing Israel. I'll do anything, Miriam. Please give me money. I'm so broke. So that's who Donald Trump is. So if you got a donor that's got more money than Miriam Adelson, then you could buy Trump and we can get the peace. But until you've got more than $100 million, the Adelson widow is going to buy him and he's going to do everything Israel asked for, which is probably greenlighting even further massacres.
The only thing I'll add to that, I agree with all of that. The Adelson family owns the outlet he was talking to in this interview.
So good luck. So he's not wrong that Israel has gone too far and it looks bad for America, for Trump, for Netanyahu, for Israel. He is correct about that. Everything else is him just kissing Adelson ass to try to get back into office. I'll let you kill as many Palestinians as you like, finish the job, do whatever final solution you have, finish them all as long as you give me the money. And that's classic Trump.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.